Hello, hello. So, here I am still. There was a delay in moving the fridge, or freezer should I say, so I've still got my magnetic resource here, which I think is just as well because this will be my last chance to do reading for next month, as in a monthly forecast like I did for May recently. I got the inspiration to do it now, not just from my circumstances, but also the lady I follow, who you will hear all about in the YouTube video version of my last one. She did her monthly forecast for June yesterday, so it's not too early, I guess, if she does it. So I'm going to do the monthly forecast for MEWGULF today. Now, the other one is coming along. It's almost halfway done with editing, at least. It's just, there's a lot to add afterwards. Not just my reading, but also because I wanted to tie it in with this other lady's readings. So, yeah, there's a bit to follow, but it's coming along nicely. Anyway, let's get this done. So yeah, like we did for May, we'll be doing a monthly forecast, elaborating on the 3 cards that I shared with you guys in the Astro Clock reading live. So for Mew, Mew had Stars, Sun, Crossroads. I'm just going to read it out at this stage, because putting it up on the freezer didn't really help last time. So yeah, for June, Mew has Stars, Sun, Crossroads. Stars and Sun. Stars and Sun can be hoping for happiness, hoping for success, or it coming to fruition. Sun and Crossroads, this is the interesting one in this trio this month, is Sun and Crossroads can point to finding happiness with an alternative person, or choosing an alternative path to what you are now on and finding happiness, which is interesting. Stars and Crossroads really points to him choosing to, or deciding which way he's going to go from now on based on his hopes and dreams, which could tie in with some of our previous readings about, you know, wanting a family and things like that. So what I wrote for June with Mew, I said, it looks like Mew will spend the month wishing and hoping for a better, happier future, which is the Stars and Sun. He will gain clarity that will help him decide what's best for him and will most likely choose to dream, follow his hopes and possibly be happy with an alternative path to what he is now on, which is the Sun and Crossroads. That's what I put. And of course I've done one for golf as well, but we'll get on to that later. So, Stars, Sun and Crossroads. We want to elaborate on these cards for Mew. So, let's just get right into it. Mew Suppasit. What is the month of June looking like for Mew Suppasit? Now, also keep in mind that he has his events, and I say events, I think it's 2 of them, isn't it? He's got his homeroom event, which I'm really sad I'm going to miss out on because I'm just too busy, and also my internet, we've actually got a date we're moving out now, which will be the 2nd of June, and I have no idea what my internet's going to be like that week, so, you know, I've got nothing set up, so, I really can't afford to commit by buying a ticket to this event and then not be able to access it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, sadly I have to miss out. And I haven't seen the series yet either, which I'm really upset about, you know, because I was really looking forward to this. This is an acting role Mew would do that can't be half-assed, because it's all acting. It's completely all acting. There's no compromising scenes or scenes that might play with his conscience too much, like there was in the twin one, in the Switching Patterns Twins series that just went past, that he half-assed the kissing and the love scenes. There's none of that. This homeroom is like he's really going to give it all he's got, and I've heard he has, and it just looks amazing. And plus I've seen the Japanese version of it, so I'm curious what the Thai version is like. So I'm really bummed that I can't see the series as yet. And also I can't even see this extra class with Crew Win either because of my circumstances. But, you know, this is life, and I really can't do anything about it, you know, so. And also he's got his other event in June, isn't it? He's going, or is that July? I'm not sure, I didn't double check, but he's got the event coming up in China, his fan sign, hasn't he? So both these things could also be linked to this possible success and happiness he might attain this coming month in June, or may come to fruition, as said. He may have a good result from both of these events, and that could be the happiness that he's talking about here, because these are separate readings for MEWGULF, remember. They just seem to align together. That's why I was doing them together. But it could also be hoping, wishing and manifesting about him and golf as well, because it really does seem to point that way anyway, with the particularly with the Sun and Crossroads combination of choosing an alternative path and finding happiness with it. So anyway, let's get on with this. I think I've explained enough. So what is Mew Suppasit's month of June going to look like? We had Stars, Sun, Crossroads in his astro clock. So what are these cards really about? Let's find out. I'm going to do it the same way I did for the month of May. And the 9-card box reading is actually called a portrait, I found out. So I'll describe it as such. I'll describe it as a portrait from now on. So let's do Mew's portrait for the month of June, and let's see what's going on with these cards. So let's start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's go. I'm not going to turn them over just yet. Same way as I did before, center then cross, then fill in the corners and make sure they're all facing upwards, because there's no reverse in Lenormand, or Lenormand as it's pronounced in French a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we've got our cards here, guys, and as soon as we know what they are, I'll put them up here as well. So, center card. What is the center of the month for Mew regarding June? Oh, what a card. So we got key. This month is the key. Something very important is going to happen this month. Interesting, interesting. Okay. That's interesting. All right. Now let's see what the corners are. Surprise, surprise. We have sun, which we had in the astro clock. We have letter. We have fish. What do I keep saying? It's not a reading from you unless it has fish lately. And crossroads. They're already, that combination, sun and crossroads, is right there. And you know what's interesting? The way this other lady does the readings of the portrait, she calls the first card the cover card. She actually puts great importance on the first card, and the last card, which that happens to be sun and crossroads. And if you look at that, just already, without turning any other cards, we've got sun, key, crossroads. Interesting. It kind of straight away makes me think his happiness and success, the key to his happiness and success is all about the crossroads, all about this decision he's going to make. Interesting. All right. So the four together, sun, letter, fish, crossroads. Or even the other way, if we go the other diagonal, the letter, key, fish. Letter, key, fish. So a very important contract or agreement, written agreement, is the key to money. Well, I mean, that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? That's pretty straightforward. So let's just for a second think, okay, he is going to find his happiness on an alternative path to what he's now on. That means he may make some changes to what his life looks like right now, personal or business-wise. And the key to his money continuing to flow in or be successful will be in the written agreements or contracts he has. Which, this could be anything, guys. It could be an engagement they've agreed on. It could be an event. It could be the business contracts he's tangled himself in. It could be anything. So very interesting. All right, let's see what the cross cards represent now. The ones in the cross. Let's see what they say. So we have coffin. Interesting. Something's got to end, or something will end, and possibly make room for a new beginning. Hang on, we go clockwise, don't we? Woman. Honestly. Okay, woman. There you go. There you go. There's woman. So that can be a significant other, or, as we always say, it could be Gulf, his divine feminine. And underneath we have whip. Sorry, for a minute there I was like, what's this card again? Whip, which we also had in the previous reading, interestingly. Now, another thing I want to say is we're not sure if Mew has already reached out to Gulf or if he will reach out to Gulf. There were a lot of readings I saw that hinted about a missed opportunity has just passed. So possible he didn't, or possible something came up and changed plans. or it's possible he still will this month at some point. So getting the whip again is like repetitive patterns, or it could be conflict as well, but we'll get into that later. And the last one, ring, commitment, contracts, also like the letter, but it's not with that. And it happens to be, if we look at the horizontal, it's in line with the key and the woman. So commitment and contract is the key to this woman. Interesting. This could mean that if we say the woman is Gulf, this could be pointing towards having a business contract or some kind of agreement with Gulf is key to this success of getting them back together, or the reunion that they would have if they are indeed divine twin flames. Okay, so that's very interesting. Now I'll just put that up on the fridge, and then I'll go through it again visually, so everybody, I'll point to the card so you can all see what's going on as well. I should be able to skip through these and get, yeah. What was interesting when, with the other lady doing the reading, she was getting, for the month of June, she was getting a lot of snakes, a lot of fox, a lot of, what we've been getting for MEWGULF and Tool a lot, which is interesting. What we don't get this month that we got last time is the child, which is a new beginning. So that could either mean that the new beginning has already started, or it could mean that it was missed, like I said, missed opportunity. Also, as she would also say, there's no heart in this portrait, so there's no real telling if it's to do with love or not. But since we are reading for an individual, based on what's going on in his life right now, I would say it most likely is a decision about that. If you guys don't mind, I'll just do it like this, because you'll see in the edited video that I do on YouTube, I have the cards very clearly seen all the way through the video. I've made it so that can be the case. So I'll just do it here. Hey guys, it's better. It's too time consuming to set the camera up again, especially because I forgot to charge my phone, so it's a little bit compromised right now. So let's just leave it at that. Alright, so let's see. We've done the corners. So let's look at, I've done the diagonals as well. Let's look at possible early month situations. So we have sun, ring, fish. Happiness and success with a contract or commitment, which brings money. Well, I think it's pretty easy to know who that's going to be, but it could, if something happens with golf, it could be that too. Coffin. This is possibly later in the month. Now this is interesting. Look at this. Coffin, key, whip. The end of something is the key, or the end of something will open opportunity for me to do something again, or to possibly even get out of or get away from something toxic and conflicting for him. And the last row later in the month, we have letter, woman, crossroads. So some kind of agreement, written agreement or contract with this person, whether it be Gulf or Tul, significant other, or someone else is possible as well. He has to make a decision about. Now, I really think this still plays into all our past readings, even what I'm working on right now about this month, the reading. The woman really does seem to be Gulf in Mew's case. So he's going, what this looks like to me is Mew is going to get some kind of agreement, written agreement, or business letter, or invitation even, to do something, or to end something, or leave something that is going to help him decide about what he's going to do with this person, possibly Gulf. So it could be about the idea of him approaching Gulf with the idea of working together again. But he can't do that until something is settled, something business-wise is settled, or some written agreement or commitment is settled first, which, being next to the coffin, possibly needs to completely end before he can decide, or he has to decide whether he's going to end it as well. It could be looked at as like that as well. Okay, if we look at horizontal now, sun, coffin, agreement. Happiness and success. He will get happiness and success when something ends and makes room for new beginnings. To do with this, it even looks, if you want to read it more in a sentence, happiness and success has been stopped or stalled, because that's what the coffin can also mean, because of this written agreement or contract that he has. And if you're going to really get into it, it could be his business agreement with Tul, whatever that is stopping him from fully being happy and content right now. Reality. Ring, key, woman. So the reality, so that was weighing on his mind, right? So he's thinking he can't be fully happy until he ends something, ends some kind of contract or agreement. Ring, key, woman. Commitment, again. Can also point towards relationships. Key, woman. His relationship with this woman. Key. So yeah, it could be that once this ends, him making an agreement or proposing, or and proposal could be business proposal as well, guys, doesn't have to be wedding proposal, or this proposal he has towards Gulf could be the key to his relationship working with Gulf again, and help him make the decision to perhaps pursue further than just working with him again, something like that, possibly. come down to hidden influences, right? So fish, whip, crossroads. Money is a big deal right now. Always in every reading, it seems to be a huge deal for Mew right now with fish. Money is a big deal. He puts a lot of thought into money right now. It's very important to him right now. Whip, like I said, could be repetitive patterns, or it could be conflict. It could be constantly feeling punished, or you know, like the whip, constantly being punished or feeling like this, he's in constant conflict. And crossroads, these two things lead him to the fact that he has to make a decision about his future regarding this person, regarding the contract, and regarding ending something. So it all ties in together in the end. Before we do the knighting, I want to do the tea, because the woman, not this woman, sorry, the woman I follow likes to do teas. So if we go for the top tea, where the coffin is the main card, the cross card. So it's all about ending. It's all about ending something to make way for a new beginning. And as it shows, like I said before, happiness and success, possibly even clarity, because the sun can also mean like shining the light on something. It all depends on this ending of something, which with the business, with the letter next to it, does seem to point towards business or some kind of written agreement, contract. If they've written anything about their engagement, it could be that too. And this is the key to ending this conflict that he seems to be having. Or it could be, if you look at this card more positively, it could be opening up to be able to do something again, because repetitive patterns. Okay, if we look at the tea from down here, then we have the whip as the center card. We have fish and crossroads, so he's making money from continuously doing something, but he has to make a decision if he wants to continue doing this. But it looks like he's going to decide to end it, because look, again, we end with the coffin down here, so the key is to end. The key to fish, even to money, the key to being abundant with money, and the key to his happiness and success, all leads back to this, ending something. Now, it could be ending something with this woman. We don't know. The alternative is it could be ending something with this woman. So it could either be ending it with Tool, or it could be ending it with Gulf for good. Like I said in my last reading, like he could really like put his foot down and make a public announcement that, you know, enough is enough, and cut ties completely, which I just can't see happening, guys, but you know, who knows. I think it's more likely that this karmic partnership is going to end, because I've seen a lot of readings as well pointing towards that being just so. Even on Tool's side, Libra and Virgo, they both signs have had readings about something, like something is about to end, heartbreak is coming, you are about to make a decision to walk away and have peace rather than continue with this toxic, possibly karmic tied person. So that, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot pointing towards it being positive for MEWGULF and not for the others so much. That's just how things are being read at the moment. Yeah, so kind of just doing that Now the T does kind of cover the knighting as well, because knighting is basically just doing one half of the T at once. It's a little bit more thorough, but I think we've kind of covered it anyway with the T. Again, we have a T here. Looks like the money is key to success, relationship, so a happy, successful, and let's say emotionally fulfilling relationship, and money. This person, who possibly is golf, is the key to this for you. Totally. Full. I would take these three cards as being like the Ten of Cups in tarot. So that everything, you can have it all. You can have it all with this person, because they are the key to your full happiness. Or if it's tall, it means that. But honestly, guys, I do not get the vibe that this is tall. And then we have the other way. So ring. If we go this way, an agreement or contract with this woman, deciding about it. So deciding maybe to work together again, could be, is also key to their relationship, like I said earlier. So the relationship with this person, with golf possibly, the key to their relationship, to opening up their relationship again after being stalled for so long, is the written agreement up here, whatever that may be, and the decision made about it. Maybe they already have a written agreement. Like maybe this written agreement is something they personally agreed upon together. Like if you think alternatively to what I just said about the Ten of Cups with golf, maybe there's a written agreement that we don't know about between them about keeping us Waanjai happy with the clues, or trying to stay linked despite their circumstances or something like that. And it could be that that has to end before Mew can have his full happiness. It could be something like that, which I doubt, again. But you know, I'm just giving you the all possibilities I can think of, so that I don't seem biased. Alright, so I think that pretty much covers Mew's portrait for the month of June. It's looking very hopeful if we think about this woman as golf. It seems very hopeful that there is, whether he did reach out to golf this month, or he is going to or not, next month is still, seems to be moving towards this figure. So, yeah. These two are a little bit of a worry, but you know, I guess because it's surrounded by positive cards, so we have to trust that Mew has it under control, whatever this ending and conflict or repetitive pattern is. Mew must have some sort of control over it, because all this is surrounding it. So, alright, you know what you're doing, Mew. We'll keep trusting you, we'll keep trusting fate and destiny, that it will happen as it's meant to, that you will find your right path, you will gain clarity this month. That's a big thing this month. You will gain clarity this month in June, not May, June. And you will, by the end of the month of June, you should be able to make a decision based on that clarity to end something and possibly start something with this woman figure, which could be golf. Okay, so let's move on to golf's portrait now. Actually, I'll leave them up there for now so I can cross-reference. Okay, so for golf's reading, for golf's portrait of June, first of all, I'll remind you what I said. So here for golf, I have written, so his Astro Clock cards were Woman, Cross, Tower. Now, basically, I've said if the woman is someone like golf's boss, because Tower can mean boss or hierarchy, you know, someone above you, big institution, which could be his management, etc. This could be her or them getting in the way of his fate and destiny by means of work, which is the woman and cross together, which makes golf feel lonely, burdened, and like he has to control his pain, keep smiling and acting like everything's fine when it's not. Cross, Tower. So that's one option. If work is stalling fate, basically, in a nutshell. And then if the woman is golf, like we think it is in Mew's reading, if the woman is golf, then Mew reaching out to him, if he did or will, because it's still May, could give him the drive and ambition, possibly the motivation, to stop suffering in silence and stand up and be the boss in his own life, woman and Tower. It's up to him to follow his heart, his dreams, and he shouldn't let work, or anyone for that matter, stop him. Cross, Tower. He may start thinking about how to take a stand against who or what is controlling him and his life. Woman, Tower. Now, I want to add something else to this mix as well, because as I've learnt more about twin flames and, you know, the different stages they go through, if they are twin flames, right now golf is taking a stand. Golf is taking a stand, but he's doing it, it's like a silent sort of stand. Silent to the world, but very loud to his divine masculine, or Mew, in other words, because he's pulled away. He's stopped chasing, he's stopped responding so much to whatever Mew's been throwing his way, I suppose, in regards to the coincidences. He's not putting those love IG stories up as much right now, and if he is, they're not, you know, we can't link them with Mew as positively. You'll notice that, like, the last few in particular have been something like moving on, have given the vibe of like he's sad that he can't be with this person right now, but life has got in the way, things like that. So it really does seem to give the idea that golf could be a divine feminine in that stage of returning to themselves, believing so much in this connection that they decide to choose them. They decide they can live with or without the person and just continue loving them from, you know, from inside, and just let that person be, but stop like chasing, stop paying attention so much, just get on with your life basically, and find happiness independently, find happiness with your independence, which we tapped into in the last reading actually. I think it was in the Grand Tableau reading that I did. Golf was in that sort of mindset, so that could also tap into what's going on in this June reading as well. Anyway, let's get some clarification about it all. Let's elaborate on those three cards, Woman, Cross, Tower, and let's see what Golf's portrait for the month of June looks like. So, Golf Kanawut. What does the month of June look like for Golf Kanawut, please? Little deck, oh, a card fell. I'll use that card as the center card. I don't know what it is, but I'll use that as the center card. Alright, let's count to 8. So what does the month of June look like for Golf Kanawut? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, center card is there. And we'll build around it with the cross first, and then fill in the corners same way we did for Mew. Turn that up the right way. Okay. Alright, so let's see what the month of June has in store for Golf Kanawut. What is that center card that couldn't wait to be revealed? Let's see. Oh wow. Woman. Woman. Woman is the center. Now if Golf is the woman, then this is like having the man in Muse. Having the woman in the center. It could be, the cards could be confirming just right for me right now what I'm talking to you guys about Golf being the divine feminine. Anyway, let's not jump ahead. Let's see what the cards around it are, because the woman can also be a woman. Like, it can be a woman in Golf's life as well. So, you know, all those people who think that he's possibly dating a woman at the moment on the sly, then I suppose that would be that, but I doubt it. Anyway, let's see. 4 corner cards. First corner card, man. Now this is the cover card, which the lady usually says that means that it's all about this card. So in other words, if Golf is the woman, his portrait is all about this man this month. His focus is all about this man figure this month. Now, if I just said if the woman is a woman and Golf is the man, well, that still kind of fits. But honestly, I think being in the center is more significant than being anywhere else when you're reading for a man. So, yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think the man is Golf. I think the man could be, yeah, anyway. Let's see what the other corner cards are first, before we jump to conclusions. Okay, we have Lily, House, and Scythe again. Okay. Now, I always, when I see the Scythe, I always think cut, but I have to remember that it can be sharp decisions, like we talked about in the last reading, to a certain detail, and yeah, it doesn't have to mean cut. It depends on the cards surrounding it. Anyway, okay, so as a story, man, Lily, house, Scythe. So man and Lily points to like a mature man or an older person. Or an older person. House can be, it doesn't have to be home. It can be home and family, but it can also be something else close to home, like your workplace or your second home. And Scythe, as I said, it can be sharp decision has to be made, or it can be cutting off. This kind of makes me think, because I think of family first with the house, this could be pointing towards maybe Golf as the woman has a bit of a conflict or disagreement with a male figure in his family. Could be his dad or someone else, who, or even just an elder who has masculinity about them, or power about them. Like if you think about like the head of the household or the head of the family, don't always have to be a female. Like they can be the what do they call them, the matriarch of the family, like can be like that, and he has to make a sharp decision about this person, whoever this person is. It's pointing towards making a sharp decision about someone who is older than him, who is very close to home. That's how I'll put it, just to keep it simple. Alright, and now let's see what the other cards are. So we have, well, the first one at the top is Ring, which is commitment, relationships, can be contracts as well, We have dog, which can be loyalty, friendship. Down here we have key, same as Mew. Mew had key. And we have crossroads. Definitely there are decisions having to be made, whatever the case. Alright. So yeah, again, now in the YouTube video, once I get it up, you'll see I always make sure you can see the cards. You can cross-reference all you want, and I even highlight things along the way. And it's just amazing how some things are so in sync between these two, I'm telling you. Anyway, I can't really do that right now, and because they have some of the same cards, I can't really keep these up unless I replace some other cards temporarily with it. I suppose I could do that, but again, takes time. So yeah, I might just do the reading. You guys saw me draw the cards. You know I've got them. I'm here. I'll show you just for critics out there. There's the cards. And maybe I won't bother putting it up on the fridge for this one, just so that we can get on with things. And I'll do what I'm doing for the other one for this reading in the future, and you'll be able to see it all clear as day anyway. If we get on with the reading, so we have, like I said, man is the cover card. So it's all about this man, whether that be a man in his life or golf. Like I said, because the woman is the center, I think it's not him. I don't think it's golf. I think it's another man in his life, and golf represents the woman. And because golf represents the woman in this case, it's definitely about relationships. It's definitely about his inner being, because that's what he is. We're not calling golf a woman on the outside. This is him as a divine feminine, which is a very spiritual inner being. So yes, I think it's definitely based around that, especially with the ring here. So yeah, so let's go early in the month. We have man, crossroads, house. That could be, if we say the man is Mew, if we go along with our idea that the man is Mew, he has to make a decision regarding Mew, and Mew has to make a decision regarding him. The crossroads here is the cross card, if we look at it like that. And the decision they are making is going to affect their home, is going to affect their family, it's going to affect their comfort zone, it's going to affect everything. You know, it could change everything, the decision they make. That's what I'm getting from those cards. Then possibly mid-month we have ring, woman, key. So this could be a new commitment or a new contract or a new relationship even. With this woman or golf, because this is the reading for golf. So golf having a new relationship or new contract or new commitment is key. Or will open, will make him open up even, you could say. Then going later in the month, we have Lily, dog, scythe. Lily, maturity, elder, mentor. Dog, we said loyal, friendship, and we have scythe. So, you know what this makes me think of? This makes me think of older people in his life who he has been loyal to, or who are loyal to him, or who are friends, that he may have to make a sharp decision about, or possibly cut out of his life. And you know, without pointing any fingers, it really makes me think of, despite there not being any work cards here, it really makes me think of work. It makes me think about how loyal he is to his work, how he treats his staff members, TB management, PBERM, in other words, all those guys, he treats them like his family and his friends. It's possible he has to make a mature decision about possibly either cutting them out completely or lessening things. Like, if you look at the scythe as cutting the grass as well, it could mean like just lessening things as well. So yeah, I sort of get that vibe, that it could be, because we've had in previous readings, there's been things about possibly lessening work, putting an end to one way of life, or possibly his career, things like that. So it could be that. It could also be, if we look at it the way it is, it could also be a mature friend, or a mature fee, or an older friend, older fee, or even an older relative could be, since house is over here, that he may have to make a sharp decision about, or possibly cut out of his life. Now, if we go back to Mew being the man here, then this mature older person could be Mew, and Gulf still remains loyal to him, but has to make a sharp decision regarding him. It could be like this as well. And being loyal to him could even be about staying just friends with him as well, with this card. So being mature about the situation, about his situation, about Mew's situation, and possibly deciding that the only thing they can do right now is be friends, is also a possibility. But with all the other cards surrounding, like I said, if Gulf is the Divine Feminine, and this is his decision about it all regarding that, then yeah, this loyalty card, this dog friend card, could just be about remaining loyal to Mew while Mew sorts out his life, basically. Like I said earlier with the waiting, you know, well, you're not really waiting. You can live with or without the person when you're in this stage as a twin flame, but you remain loyal on the inside. You remain with open arms to your other half, returning to you when they're ready, sort of thing. So it could be that too. It could be that Gulf has reached his maturity in this twin flame sort of situation, that he is now choosing himself. He's stopped letting it emotionally drain and affect him. The situation of waiting for his divine masculine to wake up, basically. And he's chosen himself, he's chosen his individuality, his independence, but he is still remaining loyal to Mew anyway. Something like that. Alright, and then we go horizontal, so we have man, ring, lily. Again, this could be pointing towards, if this is Mew, it could be pointing towards there being an agreement or contract if they work together again, or it could be about them both agreeing to be mature about this new relationship that they may start having. It could be them about being more mature this time round, like not taking it lightly, not taking each other's feelings lightly, and really being serious about the matter when it comes to them, something like that. And because this is Gulf's reading and it's what's on his mind horizontally, that means that Gulf is going to be mature about it. that means Gulf is going to, if he does have a contract or commitment with Mew again, this person, this gentleman here, or if he does start a relationship with Mew again in the future, he's going to be more mature this time round. It can mean that. Reality happening right now is crossroads, woman, dog. So right now the reality is, like I said earlier, he has to make a decision, but whatever decision he makes regarding this person, regarding Mew, he's going to remain loyal and possibly remain friends no matter what, something like that. And then we have hidden influences. Well, hidden influences is home or house, key, and scythe. So hidden influences that are causing Gulf to remain loyal, but make a mature decision about this person, which could be Mew. I think house definitely represents family in this case. But it could also be, because, you know, Gulf always says, you are my home. It could also be his fans, including Waanjai. It could also be his fans are hidden influences in his decision-making as well. But key and scythe. Now, let me just visit that for a sec. If this is about loyalty to his fans, about possibly his solo stance, maybe the key could be the scythe. So this could also be talking about if this is going to work with Mew, he may have to cut down on some of the people he's inviting into his home, so to speak. Could be something like that as well. Yeah. Anyway, I will do my further research on this like I did with the other one, and I will put it all into the end video, and we'll see what it all ends up with. Okay, so now let's do the T's. The T with the ring in the middle. So we have man, ring, lily, woman, key. This commitment or contract or relationship with this person, this male figure, is going to be mature, and keeping a mature mindset about this relationship is going to be the key to its success, or possibly to opening up to the future with this person. Down here we have the key in the center. We have house, key, scythe, woman, ring. Again, like I just said, something being cut out of his life, or making a sharp decision about something, will be the key to opening this relationship that he may have as the woman. If we look at it, the dog T, dog and man, usually this means friend, male friend, but it could also be a male you are loyal to, because that plays into it as well. So again, his loyalty to this man, Mew, he has to make a decision, and his decision is going to be based on loyalty no matter what. His decision is going to be based on loyalty to this man and possibly even to his family. If we do the knighting, dog and house also. So loyalty to his family, to Mew, to possibly even his fans is all coming into this decision that he has to make regarding this male figure. Or if we go back to the possibility that the woman is not Gulf and is a woman, and that the man is Gulf, same thing. If he is trying to consider bringing a woman into his life, he also has to make a decision about his loyalty to his family, fans, and to this woman, and to himself. So there's also that. But I really don't get that vibe, guys. It really seems to be, because that is the center card, and it's supposed to be a reading about Gulf, this really sort of cements for me personally that the woman is Gulf. Anyway, now the other way, crossroads. So the dog is the T. For the dog, the crossroads is Lily, dog, scythe. So a mature, sharp decision has to be made in regards to his loyalty because of the crossroads here. So mature, sharp decision based on loyalty. Yeah, it'll make sense when I put it up on the screen, guys. I'm sorry. It's a little harder to do this way. Anyway, again, I think the month of June, the portrait we have of Gulf is quite hopeful looking again, because we have the man, which could be Mew, the woman, which could be Gulf. Gulf in Mew's, Gulf in his, he is in the center. It's a big deal, guys. Ring, they both have ring. They both have key. They both have crossroads. There's a lot of synchronization going on between these two portraits here for the month of June. So let's wait and see what happens.